Prophecies foretell the United States will not be part of the end-time world government and that global governing system that's coming up just ahead of us. On today's program, we will talk about how powers will swing to Europe, and Germany is specifically prophesied about in Scripture as one of the major players in this international order. On today's edition of End of the Age, we will discuss Germany's recent ongoing emergence on the world stage and her prophesied role in the end-time world governing system.
Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world, and then shall the end come.
Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?
Well, welcome everybody to End of the Age Wednesday's edition. Irvin Baxter is on his way to the Israel tour. He's traveling today and tomorrow, and we'll be back on the air Friday with Open Line. And so thank you for joining me today. And if you hear a little background noise, we're getting a new roof put on our end time building. I'm thankful for that. And so you might hear a little background noise, but I think it's just enough muffled to where it shouldn't be a problem on the radio and on our social networking services today. So I've got a great program today, in my opinion. According to Bible prophecy, the United States will not be part of the end-time world government, which will be ruled by the Antichrist in just the near future. And we're watching the ongoing withdrawal of the United States from that entity, which really we created and we have been the leader of for the last 70 plus years. And the Bible also tells us who will take our place at this global governing system at their table in just the near future. The Bible's very specific on these prophecies, and we're going to deal with that today. The Conversation put out an article that says Germany is pitching for a seat on the UN Security Council, and here's why. A very, very important article because it's the ongoing fulfillment of Bible prophecy. And it states this: one country that seems to be stepping up to fill America's shoes in this vacuum or the hole that's going to be left in this global governing system is Germany. And while its administrations have long shied away from taking on a leading global role, Berlin is finally realizing that the shift in the global order requires a more assertive foreign policy. But really, if you think about it, given Germany's history and their culture, its ability and their willingness to lead through military power is limited. They've started the past three world wars. Franco-German War of latter part of 1800s, the World War I, World War II. So everybody's kind of put a noose on them when it comes to, hey, Germany getting a huge army, their military power, it's limited. And so it's therefore looking for a greater influence in the UN, the United Nations, as an alternative. And they say, well, there's no such thing as a vacuum that's created in political power. In a January 2018 interview with the news magazine Der Spiegel, Sigmar Gabriel, then he was the German foreign minister, he was clear about the consequences of the U.S. disengagement from the leadership of this one world government. He said there's no such thing as a vacuum in international politics. He said if the U.S. leaves the room, other powers are going to immediately walk in to fill that spot, i.e. Germany. And Heiko Maas, Germany's new top diplomat, seems to be prepared to do just that. And this is the fulfillment of Bible prophecy, everybody. The Social Democrat Maass has been keen to emphasize that Germany would not duck away from its global responsibilities, filling this gap left in the international community by the United States. Should we pull all the way out? And he said that includes challenges arising from Russia's increasingly aggressive foreign policy, the posture that they've taken. And Maass has painted an image of contemporary international society as being divided between those who promote, now get this, openness and tolerance. This is what's the division here, and those who wish to return to isolationism and nationalism. That's what our recent presidential election was all about. Hillary Clinton wanted to take us into an open border society and into, yielding up more of our sovereignty to a world governing body, the process of globalization. Donald Trump wanted to head back towards nationalism. And he's saying this is the big divide on the international stage right now. And it is this divide that Maass says which will determine Germany's foreign policy approach over the coming years. Of course, they're all about the process of globalization, moving into this one world governing body. And you're going to find that out as I go along. And so, I'm coming up to a break. So when I get back from the break, I'm going to get off into the hard and soft powers of what Germany's talking about. Things they could really nail down in an international community, what they could do by an iron fist, and a more diplomatic way. And we know that the Bible talks about both ways that are coming up in the near future.
The End Time Prophecy Tour was the most wonderful tour. I'd like to thank Irvin and Judy Baxter for a fabulous trip to Israel. I know it took much effort and planning to make it successful. What a tremendous time we all had, which warrants a great big thank you. You can't encapsulate it into words. You can't capture it with a photograph. You just have to experience Israel yourself. The Queen of Sheba said, "The half has not been told." I concur. What an awesome experience to visit the land of Bible history and see it come alive as you walk its paths. I shall be forever changed. Dale from Louisiana.
Join us October 25th through November 5th, 2018. You too can experience Israel with Irvin and Judy Baxter. Go to endtime.com or call 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463 to sign up today.
If ever people need to hear the unvarnished truth, it is now. There are some subjects that are not politically correct to talk about, but they're urgent. That's why I'm grateful for End Time Magazine. If you're not a subscriber, you're missing information that will really impact your life. End Time has a bi-monthly magazine that explains how current events are fulfilling Bible prophecy. You can get a 2-year subscription for only $29. You can also get a bulk subscription and pass them out to your church. We have gotten reports that End Time Magazine has caused spiritual awakenings in churches when they see the prophecies being fulfilled right now. You can start your own ministry and leave them in doctors' offices, libraries, laundromats. You never know if you might be responsible for saving someone who is searching for the unvarnished truth. That's what the magazine has done in many lives. Call 1-800-363-8463. That's 1-800-END-TIME and get your subscription today.
So, in Germany's eyes, the first and in many ways most necessary condition for international leadership is hard power. So, as a first step, Germany will have to fill the void of what the United States supposedly is leaving in their eyes. Germany is going to have to invest more in its armed forces, if only to address the serious deficiencies in its military readiness. And Berlin is also going to try further to expand its footprint. Now, this is where it gets very prophetic. To expand their footprint in global governance institutions. And this is what I want to focus on today. Key, really, to the German model of leadership is the United Nations system. They see that as the way going forward, this global governing way of leadership in the world. Whereas the U.S. liberal internationalists have largely regarded the global web of U.S. bilateral partnerships and alliances as the cornerstone of the liberal order. Germany's global governance strategy is firmly focused on the United Nations-based multilateralism, running everything by a global governing body with no dissent. The United Nations is, they say, the cornerstone of the rules-based international order, which it is. It's the seat of world government today. And Moss recently reiterated that. He said preservations and building of this order are central German interests. This is a direct fulfillment of Bible prophecy. I'm going to show you that before the program's over. So Germany's foreign minister is pitching for a seat at the UN Security Council. And you remember that the 5 victor nations of World War II are the permanent members on the UN Security Council. And Germany is already an influential political player within the UN, but a seat on the UN Security Council in the next couple of years would certainly prop up its global leadership ambition. And the Security Council is by far the UN's most powerful organ. It was endowed by the United Nations Charter with the primary responsibility for the maintenance of international security. The Council has a legal authority to decide about matters of war and peace on behalf of really 193 nations of the UN member states. So should Moss pitch be successful, Germany would join the Security Council as a non-permanent member, and it would begin a 2-year term on the Council in January of 2019. And it would still not be on par with the Council's 5 permanent members, which is the victor nations of World War II, China, France, Russia, the United States, and the UK, who hold obviously the special right to veto the Council decisions. However, even a non-permanent seat would strengthen Germany's ability to influence the agenda. And that's what they're hoping for. And really, the agenda, promoting an open, rule-based global order in an increasingly fragmented world. They know it's an enormous challenge, but they're up to it. They're willing to take on that leadership role. And no liberal democracy, they know, can shoulder this responsibility alone. And with its strong diplomatic credentials, a global reputation as a civil rather than a military power, Germany brings a distinct set of skills to the table. They're very industrious. I mean, you remember the golden rule. You never mess with the one who has the gold makes the rules. Germany's very influential, very strong economically. And it could help really preserve liberal order principles in a way that is respectful towards and even learns from new actors and approaches to global governance. That's their goal. So they're looking for a seat in the United Nations to have more of an assertive power. They say, hey, if the United States is going to pull out, we'll come in and we'll take over that role. We'd be more than happy to. And that's what they're proposing. So it's a direct fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Let's talk about that. Germany in Bible prophecy. It's very critical. It's one of the most recognizable prophecies in the end time. And so we're going to talk about it. I'll teach you the lesson of Germany in Bible prophecy and her role in the end time. Because we're seeing moves, the ongoing fulfillment of this prophecy as we speak. And all of these prophecies that we talk about let us know we're just prior. We're definitely in the end time. We're not looking for the end time to begin. We're already there. And these prophecies let us know that we're just prior to the second coming of Jesus Christ. The fulfillment of this prophecy occurs just before, and it will be in power at the time of the second coming. We're there. And so let's talk about Germany in Bible prophecy. Let's see. Let's start back with Adolf Hitler. If you remember history a little bit, Adolf Hitler once stated that Germany will either be a world power or it will not be at all. It's something in the German psyche. And really, you've got to wonder if this was just propaganda for his Third Reich or if he might have known the prophecies of the Bible. You never know. the Bible prophesies that a Holy Roman Empire dominated by Germany will rule the entire world just before the second coming of Jesus Christ. But hold on a minute. The Holy Roman Empire, if you remember history at all, was defeated by Napoleon, and it was pronounced, when Napoleon defeated Francis II, it was pronounced dead in 1806. And furthermore, Germany has now been incorporated into the 28-member European Union. And so it's preventing this powerful nation of Germany from ever becoming the Fourth Reich. Right? Well, not according to the Bible. So let's go back all the way to Daniel chapter 2, to Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And then I'll bring you all the way up to today before we're done. Because you need to understand this. Although it is mentioned several times in the Bible, the first prophetic account of the Holy Roman Empire is found in Daniel chapter 2, verse 31 through 45. And it occurs when Nebuchadnezzar, the king of the Babylonian Empire, has a dream. And neither he nor his wise men can remember or interpret this dream. He calls them all in, tell me what I dreamed, I can't remember. And they're like, I don't know. Nobody's ever asked this of us before. And he was like, you guys are all charlatans, get out of my sight. However, God gives the dream to the interpretation of the dream to Daniel, gives him a vision of the dream and the interpretation to the dream, which he reveals to the king. And in the dream, Nebuchadnezzar saw a great statue with a head of gold, arms and breast of silver, belly and thighs of brass, legs of iron, and the feet and toes were iron mingled with clay. Now this is, remember, Daniel chapter 2. And after this, he noticed that a large stone came down and smashed the image on the feet, destroying the entire structure. And the interpretation revealed to the king in Daniel 2, verse 36 through 45, shows us that the five metal sections of the image represent the five empires that would rule the world, the known world, during their era from the time of Babylon until the time of the second coming of Jesus Christ and the establishment of the kingdom of God on the earth. So the first empire was Nebuchadnezzar's Babylonian Empire. Do your history. This is one of the ways that we can prove, that we can validate the Bible, is through this awesome history lesson of these five empires. The first one was the Babylonian Empire, the head of gold, which ruled from 604 BC to 539 BC. And then they were defeated by the Medo-Persia Empire, which lasted from 539 to 331 BC. That was the arms and breast of silver. And then you had the third empire, which defeated the Medes and the Persians, which was the Grecian Empire. They ruled the known world between 331 and BC to 197 BC. The Grecian Empire was the belly and thighs of brass. And then you had the fourth empire, which was the strongest empire, and that was the Roman Empire, which ruled from 197 BC all the way to almost about 284 AD, almost 300 AD. That was the legs of iron. And this empire was obviously the strongest of all. It ruled for almost 500 years, literally with an iron fist. And so the last empire to rule the earth will be the Holy Roman Empire. Now you realize Daniel prophesied about these empires 2,500 plus years ago, and we're living through this today. The Holy Roman Empire would be the last empire to rule the entire world just prior to the second coming of Jesus Christ. The Holy Roman Empire is the feet of iron mingled with clay. And this final empire, which began in 800 AD, will end at the second coming of Jesus Christ. That was the large stone that you've seen come down. And when he will destroy all the governments of men. This image, global governing image, is going to come tumbling down. So the final empire will rule the entire earth in the near future. It's coming into power now as we speak. Look at the current European Union and the amount of power that they hold as we speak right now. And this being true, I want to teach you a little bit more about the Holy Roman Empire. So the Holy Roman Empire, let's see. After the decline of the Roman Empire. Now, the Roman Empire, Holy Roman Empire, two totally different things. Where the Roman Empire, you're thinking about Caesars and gladiators and the Senate and all that. When you're talking about the Holy Roman Empire, you're talking about whole different animal. So the Holy Roman Empire, really, it seemed that the vision of a united Europe had all but died in 1806 when the Holy Roman Empire was defeated. However, the dream was brought back to life when Pope Leo, or when the Roman Empire was defeated. But it was brought back to life when Pope Leo III crowned Charlemagne the first emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. So the Roman Empire ruled till almost 300 AD. 500 years later, Pope Leo III crowns Charlemagne the first emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, 800 AD. The Holy Roman Empire was designed from the very beginning to rule Europe as a partnership between politics and religion. So if you remember, the feet of iron mingle with clay in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. The iron symbolizes the political element, and the clay represents the religious factor that was mixed in. The feet of iron mingle with clay symbolizes the Holy Roman Empire. It's very important to get that because that's the fifth empire. A lot of prophecy teachers, I know the old Clarence Larkin Dispensational Truths book, he taught there were 4 empires. But there are actually 5. If you don't get the 5th one, it's going to be impossible to understand some of the further prophecies that are coming and Germany's role. So after 800 AD, the Holy Roman Empire dominated Europe for the next 1,000 years. And its leadership was always comprised of the most powerful political leader in Europe, working alongside the strongest religious force in Europe, the Roman Catholic Church. And although many historians pronounce the Holy Roman Empire dead after Napoleon defeated Francis II in 1806, European and Vatican officials, they never gave up on the dream of the Holy Roman Empire. And that dream is being realized as we speak. So let's talk about the rebirth of the Holy Roman Empire after 1806 onward. So after World War II, Winston Churchill proposed the creation of a United States of Europe. And his plan of action was to first join the European nations together economically. And once this was successful, he and other European leaders believed that the political union would inevitably follow. And of course it has. Among many of the nations, I should say. Not all of them are willing to yield up all of their sovereignty, but and they're trying to force them to do that. That's part of it. And so, in the beginning, 6 nations formed the Common Market in 1957. That was when they signed the Treaty of Rome. And the goal was to remove all trade barriers among the member states, and that would create an economic union. And the experiment was a success. It resulted in the expansion of the Common Market to 12 members by 1992. And by this time, all economic barriers separating the member nations have been totally eliminated. It would be like raising crops in Indiana and selling them in Ohio. You could drive right across the line. My grandpa and them both my grandpas were farmers for over 50 years. And they would raise crops, and they lived right on the line there. And if they had to, they could go over to Indiana and into Ohio. They lived in Indiana. They could drive over the line and sell it at an elevator in Ohio. Well, that's what had happened here in Europe. You used to have visas and all this other stuff going into another country. That was eliminated. And the economic union was now complete. However, that was only the first step towards the realization of a truly united Europe. The ultimate goal was political union, or a virtual United States of Europe. And in 1992, it was ever evolving, this European empire. They signed the Maastricht Treaty. And this new agreement came into force in 93, changing the name of the common market to the European Union. And it really established a common European currency, the euro at that time. And they're marching along here towards their dream of a unified Europe. And it also called for Europe to have its own president, their foreign minister, and a constitution. But it wasn't complete at that point. In 1999, the euro was born, causing a majority of the EU members to discard the national currencies. And the European Union continued to grow. By 2007, the number of EU members, the member states, was up to 27, with a total population of over 500 million people. I mean, think about the economic base. They passed the United States. We've only got 25 million. But in order to fully realize Winston Churchill's dream of a United States of Europe, 3 key elements were lacking: a president, a foreign minister, and a constitution. And those dreams became a reality on November 3rd, 2009, when the last EU country, the Czech Republic, ratified the Lisbon Treaty, which became Europe's first constitution. And 2 weeks later, on November 19th, 2009, Herman Van Rompuy of Belgium was chosen as Europe's first permanent president. Cathy Ashton was chosen from Great Britain, became Europe's first foreign minister. All of the pieces of the European Union were now in place. And the Holy Roman Empire, which everybody had thought had died, the dream had died, it had now been reborn. And so we're coming up to a break. When we get back from the break, we'll go off into and answer the question, is the European Union really the rebirth of the Holy Roman Empire? It's a very important question, and I've got proof for it, and I'll share that proof with you when we get back from the break.
Let me tell you today about our exciting Armageddon collection. What does the term Armageddon mean? Why is it so important in Bible prophecy in the last days? And what will happen between now and then? In our Armageddon collection, we cover subjects such as events of the final 7 years, the revealing of the Antichrist, the mark of the beast, and the world's greatest revival just ahead. In this special collection, you will receive the DVD, Seeds of Armageddon, November 29, 2012, our 8-lesson series, From Here to Armageddon, along with a PDF of our 7-year timeline, and our informative DVD, First Step to Armageddon, December 23rd, 2016. All of this for your gift of $140 or more, plus the cost of shipping and handling. To order your Armageddon collection, go to endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME. That's 1-800-363-8463.
The End Time Prophecy Tour was the most wonderful tour. What an awesome experience to visit the land of Bible history and see it come alive as you walk its paths. I shall be forever changed. Dale from Louisiana.
Join us October 25th through November 5th, 2018. You too can experience Israel with Irvin and Judy Baxter. Go to endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME to sign up today.
If your station only carries the first 30 minutes of End of the Age, go to endtime.com and click the watch button to continue today's broadcast. You can also finish up later by clicking the archives button.
So the question we have to answer now is the European Union, the current European Union sitting there with 28 member nations, is that really the rebirth of the Holy Roman Empire? Remember, the prophecy of the Holy Roman Empire was given 2,500 years ago, that it would be in power just prior to the second coming of Jesus Christ. It was reborn on November 3rd, 2009. But is it really? Well, since the Bible prophesies that the Holy Roman Empire is going to be in power at the time of the second coming of Jesus Christ, we've got to be certain that the present day European Union is in fact that reborn Holy Roman Empire. And do we have irrefutable proof? Well, absolutely. Remember, Charlemagne was crowned the first emperor of the Holy Roman Empire when they had dreams and visions of uniting all of Europe in the end time. Charlemagne was the first emperor. Well, number one, here's some proofs. Whose picture was placed on the first European coin? Well, it's the ECU, the European currency unit. It was Charlemagne's picture, the first emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. So they're not trying to really hide what they're doing. The first coin that they get after they had unified, Charlemagne's picture was placed on the front. They know what they're doing. Number two, what's the name of the annual prize that's given to an individual with outstanding efforts towards European unification? The Charlemagne Prize. There it is again, the first emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. And the next question, what's the name of the page in the Economist magazine? Every Economist magazine has a special page devoted each week towards European unification. What's the name of the page? The Charlemagne page. These people know exactly what they're doing. And number four, what's the name of the building located in Belgium? I've been there and seen it. I know it's there. It's right across the street from the headquarters of the European Union. And what's the name of the headquarters of the EU, where all applicants go to file for a membership in the European Union, as well for entrance negotiations? The building is called the Charlemagne Building. And so, do the leaders of the European Union, do they have a vision of rebuilding Charlemagne's Holy Roman Empire? Man, you better believe they do. They know exactly what they're doing. So, let's talk about, and this is very important because there's articles going on right now where Germany's trying to exert their authority in the earth. So, the role of Germany in the end time. And really, according to Bible prophecy, Germany will be the dominant nation in the Holy Roman Empire when Jesus returns to the earth. The leopard in Bible prophecy, it first appears back in Daniel chapter 7, where Daniel is given a vision of nations that would be in power just before the second coming of Jesus Christ. They would rule the world. And it states in verse 23 of chapter 7 that beasts are used to symbolize nations. And I'm not going to go into the whole lesson. For a complete explanation of Daniel 7, we've got a DVD, United States Discovered in the Bible. You can call 1-800-END-TIME or go to www.endtime.com and you can order the DVD. Don't have time to go into the whole thing. It's a great lesson. Modern nations in the Bible. Then Daniel 7:6 says, after this I beheld, and another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. So the leopard in prophecy always symbolizes the nation of Germany. How do we know this? Well, verse 6 says that dominion was given to the leopard. So which nation had dominion, has had dominion really in the world over the last 150 years? Well, it can't be the eagle's wings mentioned in Daniel 7. That's the United States. And it can't refer to Russia because her symbol is the bear. So there is a nation on earth that has started the last 3 major wars. The Franco-German War of the latter part of the 1870, World War I, World War II. The nation is Germany. And Germany has dominated world events in modern times. That was the whole reason for the Berlin Wall, to keep Germany from rising again and starting another war. And furthermore, Webster's Online Dictionary with multilingual thesaurus translation states that the leopard is also the unofficial national animal of Germany, replacing the tiger, which was along with the eagle, the national animal of Nazi Germany. So and also the Leopard tank was a German-designed tank which entered into service in 1965. So the United States has the Eagle fighter, Russia has the Tu-95 Bear bomber, and Germany has the Leopard tank. And so you can see how it tracks all the way down through here. So the Bible also says that the leopard had 4 heads. What's that mean? Well, a beast in Bible prophecy always represents a nation or a kingdom. And really, multiple heads on a beast in Bible prophecy indicate the number of times that a particular nation will rise and fall. Read Revelation 17:10. It's proof for that. And then in the case of Germany, the 4 heads of the leopard represent historically, the First Reich, the Second Reich, Hitler's famous Third Reich, and the Fourth Reich, which is now rising. The First Reich began with Charlemagne, 800 AD, and it continued for 1,000 years to 1806. And then Otto von Bismarck's Second Reich began in 1871, continued to 1918. And then Hitler's Third Reich ruled Germany from 1933 to 1945. And now we are seeing the rise of the current and final Reich, which is going to rule as a central player in the world government of the Antichrist. That's why I read the article from The Conversationalist, because Germany is trying to get a seat on the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member. And they believe in this world government, to the nth degree. And so the 4 heads of the leopard in Daniel 7:6, it lets us know that the nation of Germany will rise to dominance a 4th and final time. And so let's talk about the rise of Germany. After Hitler's Third Reich was defeated in World War II, 1945, the Allies split the nations of Germany into 2 nations. And they created East Germany and West Germany. East Germany was placed under the Soviet Union sphere of influence, while West Germany was allied with the West, the Allied powers. And the purpose was really to create 2 greatly weakened nations that would never have the population base or the financial muscle to threaten world peace again. However, the division of the German people was like a wound right through the heart of the European civilization. It was the symbol of the Cold War. It was an unnatural division, and the dream of someday being reunited beat deep within the heart of Germans. Families were ripped apart. The wall went up. Families were separated. They didn't see each other for years. It was a wound in the heart of all Germans. Even many of those responsible for dividing the German people understood that this wound would someday need to be healed. And that's prophetic as well. The statesmen of Europe believed that the long-term answer to German problem was to absorb Germany into a European federation large enough to contain German adventurism, keep them from ever usurping authority over Europe again, starting another world war. And this journey began in 1957 when West Germany became one of the 6 founding nations of the common market. Remember the beginning of the European Union. That was the goal, to unite the common market. In the meantime, West Germany had blossomed into a full-fledged democracy, causing many of the people to believe its past of autocratic rule and militarism had been left behind. And as the European Union grew larger, it was felt that the emerging federation should be able to contain 82 million Germans, surely. Well, when the Berlin Wall fell in 1989 and the Iron Curtain was rolled up, most of Europe and the world was ecstatic. The Cold War was over and a new era of peace appeared to have been born. However, there's always that however. Not all were excited about the reunification of Germany. If you remember history, remember World War II and knowing what a united Germany was capable of, then Prime Minister of Great Britain, Margaret Thatcher, commented. She said, "I was opposed to German unification from early on for the obvious reasons." She said to unify Germany would make her the dominant nation in the European community. They are powerful and they are efficient. We've defeated the Germans twice now, and here they are again. Well, if only Europe and the rest of the world would have known how right Mrs. Thatcher really was. So now we've got to talk, now that they've been reunited, let's talk about today's German dominance, because it is a direct fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Everyone knows the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules, plain and simple. The borrower is slave to the lender. Well, such is the case with Germany. For several decades now, while other European nations were spending freely, Germany was investing wisely in manufacturing plants, developing first-class educational systems, inventing new products. I mean, who wouldn't like a new Mercedes-Benz? They over-engineer everything. And so they were raising its productivity and focusing on quality, not quantity or price. They don't worry about that. Go buy a $100,000 Mercedes. If you want one, you're going to pay for it. But you're going to get an excellent automobile. And those mandates, along with a conservative fiscal and strong monetary policies, they've given Germany by far the richest nation in all of Europe. One of the healthiest economies in the world. Until recently, with memories of World War II still fresh, Europe cautiously viewed Germany as simply a cash supplier, not as a leader. However, with the current economic crisis that we've had recently in Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Europe looked to Germany for a financial solution, which she was willing to give for the good of Europe, quote unquote. Unfortunately, when billions of dollars in aid and the future of the euro itself is at stake, there's naturally going to be strings attached. We'll loan you money, but I want something in return. So in this case, it would be a loss of sovereignty for each nation involved. That was the strings attached. That's right. Angela Merkel required that each country follow a similar fiscal and monetary policy, with Germany dictating the terms. And it gave Germany dominion over each nation of Europe. You say, well, how in the world is this going to happen? Well, as a solution to the debt crisis in Europe, the European Summit held back in Brussels in December 9th of 2011 saw German Chancellor Angela Merkel and then French President Nicolas Sarkozy propose a new fiscal treaty to enforce financial regulations on 27 European nations. And seeing this as nothing more than a Merkozy blueprint for total financial control of all of Europe, Great Britain, we'll talk about it when we get back from the break.
We live in critical times. If the final 7 years started today, would you know what to do? God's people need to understand the prophecies that are taking place. Daniel 11:33 says, "And they that understand among the people shall instruct many." To guide the people around us, we must first receive instruction ourselves on the biblical prophecies of the end time. End Time Ministries is introducing the End Time 1000. We have created Jerusalem Prophecy College online to help you be ready to inform those around you. The goal is to have at least 1,000 people prepared to instruct others. By joining the End Time 1000, you can fulfill Daniel 11:33. Sign up for Jerusalem Prophecy College online and be equipped to guide your friends and loved ones during the final 7 years. Go to JerusalemProphecyCollege.com. That's JerusalemProphecyCollege.com.
So many European leaders recognized this for what it was. It was a blueprint for total financial control of all of Europe. And at that time, Great Britain Prime Minister David Cameron, he vetoed the proposal, walked away. However, there's always that however. However, the indebtedness of the remaining 26 EU nations forced them to bow and sign the treaty. And consequently, with France's slumping growth at the time, it was at record Euro era levels. Germany emerged as the leading nation, calling the shots on the European economic policies. So what does this mean? Well, Simon Heffer of the Daily Mail probably said it best when he said, and I quote, "Be in no doubt what a fiscal union means. It is one economic policy, one taxation system, one social security system, one debt, one economy, and one finance minister. And all of the above would be German." The German dominance prophesied all the way back in Daniel chapter 7. Now, this has left the nations of Europe with really a love-hate relationship towards Germany. They don't want to owe Germany, but they need Germany. They need her economic strength for both bailout money to save their economies and as a business partner to buy their goods and services. But nobody likes being a slave to the lender. I mean, you borrow money and you think, man, I got to make these payments every month. Come on. So at the same time, they've having started, and it's in the back of these leaders' mind, I promise you, having started the last 3 major wars in the world, European leaders know full well what Germany is capable of. The problem is that with Germany clearly the dominant EU nation, there's not one thing they can do about it. And this whole thing is a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. I can't say that enough. We're watching it happen as we speak. And it seems that all of these European leaders really would agree on one point. Whether you love Germany or you despise it, Angela Merkel is achieving economically, they're watching this happen, and politically, what Adolf Hitler was not able to accomplish militarily. And Germany's domination of a reborn empire, we're watching it happen. And Germany's the leader. So, Germany's role in the Holy Roman Empire. And where's that found in Scripture? Well, let's go back to Daniel 7, chapter 7, verse 7. The last empire that will rule upon the earth just before the second coming of Jesus Christ is depicted as a beast with 10 horns. You remember the 4 beasts that Daniel saw coming up out of the sea? The last one, he didn't know what it looked like. One was like a lion with eagle's wings, a bear, a leopard, and the other one he said, I don't even know, it just was a beast, but it had 10 horns. Well, that passage states that the 10 horns symbolize, in Daniel 7, throughout the chapter, that the 10 horns symbolize 10 kings that will form an alliance together. The 10 horns in this prophecy represent the same 10 kings that are symbolized as the 10 toes of iron mixed with clay back in Daniel 2. The exact same thing. And if you notice what Daniel 2:44 says about the final 10 kings depicted by the 10 toes. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall never be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces, consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So in the days of what kings? What's he talking about? Well, it's the 10 kings represented by the 10 toes of iron mingled with clay. So the same kings represented by the 10 horns in Daniel 7. It's the exact same thing. So this lets us know that the 10 toes, which represent the reborn Holy Roman Empire in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, are the exact same as the 10 horns in Daniel 7. Very, very important that you get that. And so Germany's role in the world government of the end time is found in Revelation chapter 13, verse 1 through 3, which is a depiction of the world government beast. All these nations are going to federalize. So listen at it. John said, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea having 7 heads, 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. So this thing's got a body of a leopard. Who's the leopard? It's Germany. And his feet were as the feet of a bear. Russia's going to be involved. Mouth is the mouth of the lion. Great Britain's going to be involved. And the dragon, which is Satan, gave him his power, his seat, his great authority. And I saw one of the heads as it were wounded unto death, and his deadly wound was healed. Wonder what wound was healed. What are they talking about here? It's the tearing down of the Berlin Wall. Remember, I said it was a deep wound in a nation. These heads represent nations. So if you notice, all of the beast or nations in Daniel 7 are represented in this one combined beast. They were separate beasts in Daniel 7. They're combined in Revelation chapter 13. This tells us that a league of nations, a one world government, will be formed in the last days. And I could go into such great detail on that, the establishment of a one world government in the world today. The United Nations is the seat of that one world government. And it's going to get much more invasive before it's over with. They're going to have more control. That's what they want. So, who are the participants? So, you remember from Daniel 7, each of the beasts represents a nation. It appears that this one large beast will be a world government made up of Germany, Russia, Great Britain, and the revived Holy Roman Empire. And also, the body of the beast, along with the 4 of the 7 heads, is depicted as the leopard. Remember, the 7-head, 10-horn beast in Revelation 13. Remember the beast back in Daniel 7. So you have the lion, and that's one head. The bear was one head. The 4 heads of the leopard, and then this 10-horn beast. That's the 7 heads that are represented here. One of them had 10 horns. And it's depicted, the 4 heads on this beast are the leopard. It's got the body of the beast, and it also has the 4 heads of the leopard. It's talking about the nation of Germany. And this can only mean one thing. The final empire to rule the world will be a reborn Holy Roman Empire, and Germany will be at the center of it all. And you can see right now how they're going to this world governing structure. Germany is all about world government. They've totally bought into it. And so this European Union, it's going to be the origin of the Antichrist. It's where the Antichrist is going to come from. How do we know that? If you look back in Daniel chapter 7, we know that the 10 horns represent 10 kings that are going to be in alliance together. That's why we've talked about a 2-tiered European Union. They're going to be in alliance just prior to the second coming of Jesus Christ. Another horn, or a king, will uproot 3 of those 10 and take their place. So that's going to be the Antichrist. The passage then goes on to explain that king is going to become the Antichrist, and he's going to make war against the saints until the Ancient of Days, or Jesus Christ, comes. So since the Antichrist comes up among those 10 horns, it's obvious that to conclude that he is going to emanate out of the reborn Holy Roman Empire. The current European Union will be the power base of the Antichrist, and he will come up among those nations. And then Revelation, so let's talk about the false prophet. He's also going to come from this, from the European Union. Revelation 13 describes the Antichrist and his religious partner, the false prophet. And the false prophet the prophecy is found in Revelation 13, 11 through 15. And we've proven that the Antichrist will rule over the Holy Roman Empire. And since the crowning of Charlemagne of Pope Leo III in 800 AD, the Holy Roman Empire has always been a partnership of 2 men, the most powerful political leader from Europe and the most powerful religious leader from Rome. The political leader's always been the most powerful politician in Europe, the most powerful religious leader from Rome, which has always been the Pope. And it's clear to see that the Holy Roman Empire, which is the last empire on earth, is going to be no different. And so that lets us know whoever the Pope is at the time of the Antichrist is going to be the false prophet. So, is this Bible prophecy fulfilled? Absolutely. And isn't it amazing how accurate the Bible is? Daniel prophesied, like I said, over 2,500 years ago that there would be a reborn Holy Roman Empire even before the Roman Empire was in existence. And then he went on to prophesy that the nation of Germany, depicted as the leopard, would rise and fall 4 times. And the 4th German Empire would dominate the current European Union, or the reborn Holy Roman Empire. And Daniel foretold the rebirth of the Holy Roman Empire and the current rise of Germany. And I've also proved today that the Germany is the dominant nation of the European Union, and that the very system of governance which the Lord showed Daniel is being formed right now. You see all this fulfillment of Bible prophecy? Why is that important? Because Daniel went on to tell us that Jesus Christ would return during the final global empire and set up His kingdom on the earth, which lets us know that we're very close to the second coming of Jesus Christ. My question for you today is, are you ready for the return of Jesus Christ? You say, well, wow, with all this knowledge, what am I supposed to do with it? Well, it's very simple. He said, do I go hide in a cave? What do I do? Start buying up stocks and bonds and this, that, and the other. If you want to do all that, that's your decision. At this point, we simply don't know physically what we're going to do. We're going to trust God, number one. That's one of the things you have to learn how to do, is to trust God throughout all of this. That's why you should learn to build your faith now. You build faith by exercising your faith. And we've got lessons and different things on faith and things like that on our website. But at the end of the day, make sure you're born again. Jesus told Nicodemus, except a man's born again, he can't enter or see the kingdom of God. Make sure you've got your salvation set. Once that happens, then you can start explaining these lessons and the born-again plan of salvation and different things to other people. Because you got to get, let's face it, we've got a few years left before the second coming of Jesus Christ, according to Bible prophecy. But I could be taking out of here this afternoon. Nobody's promised tomorrow. Nobody. The Lord never promised you that you would wake up every day from here till He comes. Nobody's promised that. And so I've got to make sure that I'm ready and I've got my salvation set every day. And that's the best way to prepare. The Bible says the only place of safety is in Jesus Christ in the end times. No matter what happens, what comes against you, if you've got your hand in His hand, that's the only place of safety. That's the only place of hope and of assurance that He'll take care of you throughout the end time. That's the best way to be prepared. Now, maybe in future programs, once we get a little closer to these things, we'll be able to say, hey, physically, here's how you prepare. But right now, the most important thing you can do is be born again. And we've got the brochure, What Do You Mean Born Again, on our website, endtime.com.
End of the Age is a production of End Time Ministries. This broadcast will be available on our website, endtime.com, in the archives section. On our website, you'll also find more information about how current events are fulfilling Bible prophecy. To reach our operators, call 1-800-END-TIME. That's 1-800-363-8463. End Time Ministries is partner supported. We would like to say thank you to our partners who made this broadcast possible. To do what Matthew 24:14 said, to reach the world with the gospel of the kingdom.